with a bunch of cops like these. One's a kleptomaniac. One's a compulsively violent ventriloquist. One's addicted to danger. And their leader's a transplanted Cajun who makes up his own rules as he goes along. What do you do with a bunch of cops like these? Give them a psychiatrist and pray.
Down on the bayou where I come from, everybody's different. I'll tell you something. Living be a problem to a man who don't run. Safe without a mattress and a loaded gun. Back in the shadows, cottonmouth is lying. Deep in the city, lost men are dying. Look down in the water, sky is what you see. Life is kind of strange that way. Broken ain't a problem, ain't nothing near free. Cracked is nearly perfect, perfectly cracked naturally. Oh, sugary. Over out the city where the light's supposed to shine. Everybody friendly, but they give you no time. Life ain't worth doing when you're holding the line. Half getting whiskey and muscadine wine. Back in the shadows, cottonmouth is lying. Deep in the city, lost men are dying. Look down in the water, sky is what you see. Life is kind of strange that way. Broken ain't a problem, ain't nothing near free. Cracked is nearly perfect, perfectly cracked naturally. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Kate Blanchett.
So what do you think?
They do nice work, I'll give them that, but Grogu is too young to operate heavy machinery. Maybe when he's older.
No.
What do you
こんにちは。ボンバットファミリーと私たちのライブ放送へようこそ。私たちはあなたの視聴とリスニングの喜びのための素晴らしいショーを持っています。今あなたのホストスコッティ・ジェイロとジェリー・ケーブルに Stay Bombad を楽しんで覚えておいてください。
Welcome to the Bombadcast.
Welcome to the Bombadcast. What's going on, y'all? I got my jersey on. Look at this. It's a custom jersey for a friend of mine that I used to work at whenever I worked at an autism center. He's a great guy named Nick, and he sent me this custom jersey. Look at this. And wait, here's the best part. So Louisiana Baton Rouge has officially started their hockey league, the Zydeco. Let it go. And this is the best part. I hope people ask about it. Here we go. Hey-o! Hey-o! It's me, Epic Man! Say Bombad. Isn't that sick? Isn't that incredible? Anyway.
Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett. That was weird. Hold on. Do that again. How close can I get my face?
Kate Blanchett.
Anyway, very exciting stuff here at the Bombadcast. Eric, glad to have you in the chat. That's Eric's show. Look, it's all spooky. Oh, Jerry, this is badass. I hope they keep this. Bombad fam. Ooh, creepy. And then Eric again. Anyone in the chat, make sure you comment. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't. This is the Bombadcast. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy to have everyone here. Yeah, if you haven't ever joined the Bombadcast, we do this every Thursday. Every flipping Thursday. Next week, we're bringing back some Bombad Court. That's right. I'm serious. Doing Star Wars video games. So if you dare become and be a part of our jury, you know you're more than welcome to voice your opinions on the video games of the past. Anyway, very happy to have everyone here on this Thursday. Every Wednesday, Bombad Gaming. It's been kind of a little bit of a break because I've been on vacation. I'm doing a lot of stuff right now, and that's fine. That's how things roll. And yeah, I'm super excited to talk about what we're talking about tonight. And I need to shout out to our very special patrons that support us. The best in the world: Trevor, Richard, Rasputin, Preston, Dugas, Buck, Alden, David, Trey, Wesley, Chase, Neil, Todd, Brian, M, Michael, Brian, Jeff, Jared, Seth, Sean, Rick, Joe, Brandon, Andy, Will, Scotty, this. Could. BBB. You stay bombed. Yeah. Anyway, I need to bring Jerry in because I'm ready to get freaked out. My favorite part of this season is this stream. We've been doing it literally for 4 years now when we talk about a weird topic. I'll let Jerry recap the ones from the past. Without further ado, let us we haven't done this in a minute. Let's take a knee.
You shall kneel before.
All right. Thanks, Jerry.
Hey, Dewey Dimdala. Pretty sure that's how you summon Chucky or something. That's how they. I think that's how they got the serial killer's spirit into the doll.
They say
hey, Dewey Dimdala. Something like that.
Andouille is a type of sausage.
Yeah.
Andouille Dimdala?
Andouille sausage.
What's going on, G?
What's up? Listen, so I have been steeping myself like a weird little tea bag in weird for the past week. Like I have been just dipping my balls all up in some ghosts and skinwalkers and all kinds of things.
I can't wait.
This is the first year I actually read the book that is the source material for most of the podcast. So I went to the official source, and I'm going to start doing that actually because it's you cut right to the source. It's honestly the best way to do it. And
you like this shit. This is like
I'm becoming more. Listen, I just got my. No one probably recognizes this. This is an official Ghostbusters licensed flannel. It is called the Venkman. And is like there's a flannel shirt. There's a specific flannel shirt that Bill Murray in Garfield maybe Bill Murray wears at the beginning of Ghostbusters, and this is
my god
that.
And it looks
so I am fully becoming a paranormal investigator. I will be a real life Ghostbuster someday.
F in the chat for Jerry's bad. That shirt looks really good on you too. Not even joking.
Thank you, Dixon flannel. Here we go, right there. Dixon flannel. Flannel. Hey, we can be your shills. Just saying.
Dixon flannel. Oh, this is nice stuff.
It's pretty. It's honestly really. It's a nice material. Everything like that. It's got like cool.
Is it better than Roosevelt's?
Down here.
Is it better than Roosevelt's?
It feels like it'll last longer than a Roosevelt's, if you ask me. I'm just saying.
Yes, dude. We've got compression bot Here he is. Hello.
What's up, compression butt?
Sorry for bothering you. I want to offer promotion to your channel viewers, followers, views, chatbots. The price is lower than any competitor. Quality is the best, be flexible and convenient. Dude, shout out to this guy. I love
That's fantastic. Honestly, scarier in the
look at that.
In the writing. Yeah, no,
like
that's probably gonna go away after this week, most likely.
Yeah.
Like one of those little features, but I love it. I don't know where that was when we did our creepy pasta.
Oh, I know.
You know, it is what it is. But yeah, man, I'm here. I've read a book. I watched the documentary based on the book that was made by one of the guys who co-wrote the book. So I have done research. I have done the research, and I am about to regurgitate
I can't wait.
what I got right here tonight for all of you. It's going to be great. We've lost half our viewers already. I love you all. So let's get going.
If you can we recap where the origin of this series came from? Because originally the first one we ever talked about, if I'm not mistaken, we started doing this when we first started, right? Or we did Bombad.
When we first started doing videos. When we started doing videos.
Yeah. Okay.
We did Bombad build up. So we did video. We were we were under the BTB network banner.
Yes.
This was beyond the Blast Doors network era when we first started doing all this shit. And so we started out, it was like, oh, for Halloween, let's do some spooky stuff, because we were trying to there was like several Star Wars shows. We're like, we got to find our niche.
Yeah.
We'll do something different on the channel so that we stick out and stuff like that. So we're like, okay, we did the creepypasta. We did, and then we're like, well, I'm really into this kind of stuff. Let me explain a real paranormal event to you. And you were all down. And the first one we did was the Kentucky Goblins.
Oh,
the
Kelly
Hopkinsville.
best.
Kelly Hopkinsville Goblin story is just such a great, like, cinematic, like, like a family being assaulted by these weird ass creatures in night, and again, so I love the high strangeness type of stuff. That's kind of high strange UFO, sure, but high strangeness more so.
Of course,
my flavor that I love. But we went from there. We went to the Real Men in Black. Yeah, I know, man. Hey, y'all, join our Patreon and maybe we'll do more research on things. Stuff. I think
we could do the Rougarou.
The chat.
We could do Louisiana's the Rougarou.
Ooh, yeah, Rougarou next. We could look into that. Yeah, absolutely.
Then we did after Men in Black, which is a freaky one. I remember that one.
After Men in Black was last year's, we were joined by our lovely friend Boop, and we scared the shit out of Scotty so bad that I had to stay up with him and watch
You're right.
Phantom Menace.
Dude, we sat there
because
I remember that.
I knew it was going to wreck you last year. This isn't going to be, don't go away. This one isn't going to be quite, I think, as explosive for Scotty. I don't think he's going to soil his underpants with this one, but there's a lot of weird, crazy stuff with this one this year. But last year was the Sally House. It was like the first ghost story we've done.
Yeah.
And played an EVP that a podcast.
That was too much.
That was too much. I listened to it so many times getting ready for that. I was so nervous because it made me shit myself the first time I heard it.
Oh, that was too much.
Now I just hear it. Now I just hear it when I'm walking around the house. So it's fine. I hear it when I go to sleep. It's great. Tonight.
Oh man, that's funny.
Tonight, we're going to get into something that Scotty's been begging for a couple of years, actually. Scotty's really been wanting to dive into this one deep.
I genuinely have an interest in this one. Like, honestly, like I remember listening to last podcast and the left's covering of this, but like, I don't think I really listened to it. I think I played it and didn't listen to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, so and I mean, they do very good coverage and everything. Like, there's a lot of good podcasts that have coverage of this. Astonishing Legends did a 3-part series on this, 3 2-hour episodes, deep dive. I would recommend, after reading the book, I would recommend the book.
Yeah.
And I would also recommend it's called Hunt for the Skinwalker. If any of you want to go out after this and kind of do read it.
Is there an audiobook?
There is an audiobook. I got it on Audible.
Nice.
It's very, very interesting. It's very in depth. It's written by one of the researchers that was in like at the end of the story, kind of like researchers come in with a big investor and everything, like buys the property and they research. And there's a lot. I'll tell a few of the stories there, but Colm Kelleher, he's a PhD. He wrote this book along with, you might know this name if you're a paranormal person, George Knapp, who has been on Coast to Coast AM. He's the guy. He is the investigative journalist who broke the kind of like started breaking stories about UFOs and stuff, and has just kind of been real.
Skinwalker at the Pentagon. That's one of his books.
Skinwalker at the Pentagon I haven't read. I was thinking about reading that for this, but I'll save that maybe for a sequel or something.
Oh yeah, this guy is like on ABC News. Like this, I'm sorry, he's an affiliate with ABC.
Oh, he's legit. Oh yeah, you're talking about George Knapp? Knapp. George Knapp is absolutely and Colm Kelleher, like I said, I think Colm Kelleher, if I remember correctly, he's a particle physicist or something. Or these are real scientists. These are actual. These aren't, no offense to ghost hunters and things like that. Like these aren't like guys who go out on the weekend and go, hey ghost, what's going on, ghost? Yeah. These are like actual scientists and everything. And you'll see this book took out everyone's names and everything like that. Most people's names to protect their, their identity right there. Yeah. And actually the family that owned the ranch right before they came in to research it, they have a pseudonym. Their real name is out now. They've went public, but I'm going to stay with the name that they had in the actual book because I don't want to kind of out them on that. And just real quick, one more caveat before we get diving deep, because we're 16 minutes in. We will be talking about cattle mutilation tonight. Okay. And if you have ever, I don't know if you're squeamish with gore or anything like that, or like talking about anything with animals, anyone who's watching, just a fair warning, I won't show any pictures of cattle mutilations. You can look them up yourself. And there is a picture of one of these cattle that got mutilated on the ranch on the documentary that I watched. And you think you're ready and you're not ready.
You can send me if you want.
I'll have to get a picture of it. I couldn't find a picture of it like online. Like I couldn't zero in on it. But I'll send you a pic of it. You sick fuck. But anyway, but again, all that aside, let's go ahead and dive into Skinwalker Ranch. And
1 second
on there. What's going on?
I can't thank you enough for doing this because I've been wanting to talk about this. And another one I want to talk about, by the way, just to put it in your back of your brain.
Okay.
Was the
couple? What else we got?
The couple that got abducted in the 50s.
Betty and Barney Hill. They're like one of the first actual
we'll talk about that
stories.
That
one,
put that in your
again.
Head.
Listen, I've got it in my head. We're gonna talk a lot about let me see, Betty and Barney Hill. We're gonna talk a lot about Barney's dick in that episode. We're just gonna say that. We're gonna get that off the top. Yes. But no dicks in this one. This one's almost family friendly, except for the horrible, horrific mutilation of baby calves.
So this one is dickless, like Jar Jar.
Firmly dickless. Yes, it's true. This story has no dick.
No dick.
Okay.
Here we go.
Skinwalker Ranch. So when you think about the paranormal, we typically like to compartmentalize its varied phenomenon, putting each into its own cozy box. And this makes it easier for us to process. It's a vain human attempt or a reaction to the void. But sometimes, as is the nature of the case that we'll be discussing tonight, the void refuses to go into any box. Sometimes the mysteries of the universe refuse to be solved. UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, high strangeness all come into play in the story of Skinwalker Ranch. Now,
that's I love this. Because I know it's more than one thing. It's always been more than one thing.
It's kind of off the and again, so I've been steeping in this. I wrote down some quick notes beforehand. Hopefully more will come up in conversation and stuff of things that I've kind of read and everything like that. But we're gonna dive deep here for it tonight. And y'all, this is like there are elements of there's elements of what am I thinking? Close Encounters. There's
Ooh.
elements of, it's very Spielbergian. There's
Yeah.
like elements of Stranger Things and like even a little bit of Predator, a dash of Predator mixed in there. There's just, and Poltergeist. This is just all over
I
the
can't
place. It's
wait.
all over the map.
Ugh.
So like I said, I'm going to be using some pseudonyms for these people. So their real names are out there, but they were known as, in the book, the Gormans. That was their pseudonym.
Cool name.
And Tom is the father, Ellen, the mother, or the wife. And hold on, is my thing plugged in here? Yeah, we're good. Okay. Ellen is the mom. My screen dimmed and I was like, oh no, don't die. Right now. Tad is the son. There is a daughter. There is another child.
Yeah.
I didn't find a name in the book for
Okay.
the younger of the two kids. But all that aside, right there. So these were very good, hardworking people. They were Mormons. They maybe not devout, like not every church, when do the Mormons go to church? They go to church on Thursday. I don't remember. Sorry, no offense to any of our Mormon watchers or listeners, everything, but they maybe weren't devout, but again, this is in Utah. Okay. This is in the Uinta Basin.
I was going to ask you. I didn't know where it was at.
So here I actually have
I love you.
an oversight map of the kind of like someone's drawn the entire span of the ranch. This is a huge ranch. It's again in the Uinta Basin in Utah, which again not far from Salt Lake City. It's like not far from there at all.
Really?
Yeah, it's a there's a place called Fort Duchesne. This is close to a reservoir called Bottle Hollow Reservoir. And real quick, before we jump into the actual story of this, if you want to talk about all the weird stuff that has been happening in the Uinta Basin since the beginning of time, it seems like before these people even got to the ranch in the 90s, there's a book that I didn't get to read for this that I want to. It's called, I believe, the Utah UFO Display. And it is by, I'm trying to remember the man's name. He's a scientist who lives down there, who decided to catalog all of the UFO sightings of the area that happened, like, in the 50s and the 60s and everything. This book came out in the 60s. Then a reprint came out after Hunt for the Skinwalker, because he didn't know about Skinwalker Ranch until the book came out and everything. So he did a reprint with that in it, and it's got like an index in the back and all this kind of thing. So you could, it's apparently a really great book. I want to get
cool.
But so you have this man writing this book. You've got people seeing all these weird, crazy UFOs. Of course, the Ute tribe is from this area.
Oh,
You've got,
yeah.
Native Americans all like just this was their land and everything. This ranch is built on, according to the book and everything, they say that it is on not sacred land, but it's on a what is called apparently the path of the Skinwalker. And are you familiar with what a Skinwalker necessarily is?
Isn't it, if I'm not mistaken, and you can correct me, isn't it when it's like
We'll let you sweat it out a little bit.
Isn't it is it a creature, or is it like an embodiment of a creature? I don't remember.
So it's somewhere between a witch and a werewolf.
That was it.
Essentially. So there's like, you've got the medicine practice of, and again, I'm not going to sit here and try to white-splain all of this shit, but you've got the medicine practice, medicine men, things like that, people who practice that. That's kind of the good side. And you can eventually kind of, some, they say, have gone to the dark side. They say that to become a Skinwalker, you kind of have to do very taboo things. You have to kill a family member without their knowledge. Like it has to be a surprise. You have to kill them or have someone kill them in front of you.
Sure.
You have to consume the flesh. of that family member, everything like that. And essentially doing all and like I don't know how true, like desecrate the body, basically things like that.
Yeah.
Do all these crazy things. If you go down this path, eventually you get the powers of the Skinwalker, where basically you take any pelt from an animal, you put it on, and you can become that animal. So what people mostly see when they say they see a Skinwalker is either a giant animal or a person with the head of like a dog or something, or like some kind of half human, half animal, horrific hybrid.
Yeah.
It's what people see. Let's see this. There were actually they tell a lot of stories in the book. There was a story about a mother who was delivering newspapers on the reservation, who she had her baby in the front seat. This was a long time ago because the baby was in the front seat with her. But she was like driving through this neighborhood, or driving at like a regular, like a high rate of speed, and something was opening the door and trying to reach in to grab the baby. Well, she fought it off, closed the door, and took off, and looks and is terrified because this thing is keeping speed with the car.
Oh,
looking in. Yeah. Terrifying, right?
Yeah.
And so this mainly, it's said that Skinwalkers usually don't really like attack anyone who is like, they don't attack any Caucasians, white people, or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's mainly tribal members and things like that are usually seeing these things. But it doesn't mean that white people haven't seen these things, of course, like, and I mean, once it's on the internet, everyone's gonna fucking see one of these things.
Of course.
Which is why you've got to kind of weed through some of this stuff to see if it's like a legitimate sighting of something. But one story is there was this white family who was driving through the reservation, and as they were coming around a curve, there was kind of like this ditch or whatever, and they said time seemed to slow down, and they said that this furry half animal man thing wearing human clothes jumped out of the ditch, just popped up, and they all saw it. It was black and hairy. It had on a, believe it or not, blue checkered shirt. And some brown pants, and they just got off work at the office, I guess.
That's so weird.
And so they drive away. They're like, okay, whatever, that was weird. Well, a night or two later or whatever, they're at their house and they hear chanting and drumming coming from outside.
Big note.
And they look outside and they have like just a little fence, like not a high fence. And there are these 3 silhouettes, dudes or creatures, trying to climb over the fence, but somehow not able to get over the fence. And they just sit out there and chant and all this stuff, and then they go away. Okay. So
not a fan.
Skinwalkers are they're very scary.
Yes.
They're very scary. It's a scary concept. It's meant to be that way, right? But you've got all this kind of lore that happens in this area. There's, again, UFOs. People see Skinwalkers. You've got there's like Bottle Hollow used to be a hollow, like, gorge kind of thing. And I think there was like some kind of like resort or something that the soldiers, like back in the, like a long time ago in the 1800s, would go. They would drink and do their illicit deeds. They would come back. They would throw their bottles into this hollow, and now it's a reservoir. It's a lake, basically. It's got water and everything in it now. Apparently there's like big black serpents that pull people under the water in that thing. That no one could see. So there's weird stuff. And this is all just within like not even a 20-mile radius of this area. And it seems like the center is this ranch so there is a good chance, take everything with a grain of salt. There are people that say that some of the things in this book have been kind of drummed up, they've been amped up a little bit to sell the books and things like that, which, sure, whatever. But if it's like, even if you dial it back like a little bit, like you de-exaggerate it, it's still weird as hell. And it's still, it makes no sense. It's things that shouldn't be happening, that you have these people scared out of their minds saying this happened. So well, here, let me go ahead and put up that map that I was talking about. If it'll pop up here.
God, I'm
up?
going to, yeah, I can see it. I'm going to Utah probably in February for a little trip that Katie's mom's taking us on. But God, I want to find a way to make it over there and just drive outside of it.
And I mean, yeah, you would say you've got to drive past it, because it will not, like, you can't go on there. It's owned privately now, again, by yet another big billionaire. They're still well, I mean, so look, we're not going to talk about the show that's on History Channel right now.
Yeah, there is
I've
a show
watched
on
it.
History.
I've watched a little bit of it. It's kind of a little like, they can't show I don't think they want to show much. What they got, if they got anything. And honestly, it's kind of like Tiger King meets the X-Files, which sounds great,
okay,
but it's more boring. It's so, there's like a dude named, like, there's like the dudes like who run security, like, are named like Wolf and Tiger or something, like, I don't know, it's weird. But yeah, you see this blue outline here, that's the blue outline is the ranch. So that's a lot of land. It's a lot of land. And you got like 3 or so homesteads on it. And two of these homestead areas are more dilapidated and run down. And one of the oldest ones, it's kind of in like you might hear me say this a few times tonight, a copse of trees. It's just fun to say. But like, that's where a lot of the really weird, crazy shit has happened, is around some of these buildings and stuff like that. So yeah, see, it's already these old hollowed out buildings and everything like this that are the old homesteads. You can find the new homestead up there. This is a ridge. This is what they call it, I think, Skinwalker Ridge now. But that's what they say is on the path of the Skinwalker. But anyway, so all of that aside,
it's giving me Nope vibes. Just like to have a ranch.
A little bit. Yeah, the ranch and everything like that. It's honestly, there's some big Nope vibes in this as well. So this is what I've seen online and in the book and everything. This is one of the most studied paranormal hotspots in history. Like, this is the most studies been done on this area.
What do they call it again? Because it's not a paradigm shift. Isn't there like a name for it where like paranormal activities happen in one consolidated area?
So you call it a flap when it's like a big, so you could almost consider this a flap, except for that apparently, according to what these people who are still on the ranch are saying, things have not stopped. They're continuing to happen.
Oh, Jesus.
But again, it's not like, just to say too, this isn't it's not a everyday things happening.
Yeah.
But it is just an often enough to, be crazy.
Yeah.
So
this
1994.
This book came out in the 90s. This book came out.
This book came out in the 2000s. It came out after the study and everything was done. It came out like I'm trying to remember. I can't remember. It's mid 2000s.
Okay,
like around 2005 or so.
Okay.
But so 1994, the Gormans moved to this ranch. The Gormans again are a very just straight laced, just down to earth Mormon family. They're living in Utah. Tom Gorman, who is the father, he's very good at animal husbandry, right? Like they've done very well. Most people tend to lose like, I think, up to 5% of their head of cattle in a year or whatever.
Yeah.
The Gormans consider it a loss if they get even 1% loss.
Wow.
When they are moving in. So they were very like on it.
Yeah.
Now, one of the most interesting things to me, when you get there and you go into the house, and so this has been talked about, and people have said, no, this wasn't the case. Yes, it was the case. No, it wasn't. But here in the book, it talks about how there were deadbolts on every door, inside and outside, even closets.
Oh, I love
and there were sliding locks on the kitchen cabinets. There was a dude who his parents owned the ranch before these people. He said, "Oh, I don't remember. There weren't that many deadbolts. They're making that up." But then he said, "But there were sliding locks on the cabinets." I said, well, why do you need sliding
Locks on
on
a
the cabinets anyway? And so, you know,
that's a great way to
that's-
start a creepy story. Is like
that's
there's
really
deadbolts at every door.
yeah,
I
you
love
walk
it.
in and you're like, why do you need all this kind of stuff? They said there was like poles on each corner of the house that like big poles where they would like tie up dogs or something
Oh,
and
okay.
things. Just like, yeah, but that's been said like, maybe it was there, maybe it wasn't. It's one of those things.
Okay.
Okay. So you've already got this like, well, that's weird. Why would you need to do? But you could lock yourself in a closet and get out. You know, it's like a panic room or something.
Yeah.
So, the first thing that happened to them, though, it all comes down to this crazy encounter with a wolf. So about, I think it was right after they got there, they just moved their animals onto the land. They're standing by one of the corrals, and I believe this was Tom, Ellen, the two kids, and Tom's father.
Yeah.
Are at this corral. They've got calves and stuff in this corral, and they look kind of out across a field, and they see a wolf. And they're like, well, this is kind of odd. It starts to trot across the field, you know, back and forth, meandering through the field like an animal typically does.
Yeah.
Gets up to them. The only thing about this wolf is it's like 2 to 3 times larger than what an average wolf would be.
It's like a loth
It's
wolf.
still, well, as I say, most of us would probably go loth wolf or something like that. They've kind of like said it was almost like a dire wolf. And here's like here's
Wow.
one from the La Brea tar pits. I think
Okay.
that
Yeah,
they pulled
yeah.
out. You've got one of those. Here's a size comparison
Holy
kind of looking thing. So if this thing's walking up to you, okay, so this wolf walks up to them. They said it's got these piercing ice blue eyes.
Ooh.
Which is crazy.
Ooh.
And it just kind of walks up and seems very tame. It said it was kind of raining that day, so it smelled like wet dog. They have all these visceral like memories of this. Smelled like wet dog, this huge dog. They're like, well, maybe someone owns this because it was letting them pet it and things like that. Yeah. And it just
it walked right up to him.
It walked from the trees across this field, walks right up to these people. They're like, you know, they're farmers. They're like, okay, we got these cattle. What are we gonna have to do? They're like, oh, someone must own it because it seemed very tame. It seemed very intelligent as well, like almost a little too intelligent. And unfortunately, one of the cows, a calf, stuck its nose through the gate of the corral, and before they could even do anything, this wolf had launched over there, stuck its head through the corral, grabbed that calf by the head, and was trying to pull it through the gate. Oh, and they're sitting freaking out like, oh my god, what, we got to get this thing up here. They walk over, like I think Tom, because they were able to pet it and everything. Tom walked over, gave it a kick in the ribs. It didn't even like act like anything happened. Like no effect. The Terminator. His dad apparently had a baseball bat, like tried to whack it, nothing.
Holy shit.
He tells his son, get the I think it was the 357 Magnum. Don't come at me, gun people. Get the 357 Magnum. So he gets this big handgun, like not very far, point blank range, fires 3 shots into the side of this wolf. It doesn't flinch. It doesn't act like anything happened. It doesn't bleed.
This is like the goblins, because the goblin just like bounced
it doesn't
back.
even bleed. Yeah, well, it didn't even have any, like it didn't even act like it got hit. He saw that he hit it. Yeah, and the thing to know about Tom is like an excellent marksman. This is a guy who went and hunted elk. Yeah, and like shot them from like really far away, like yards and yards away. Yeah, so it's not letting go. I think he fired a couple more shots. And it kind of backed away a little bit. It let go finally, it backed away, but just more like annoyed. No blood, no nothing still. He says, get the 30-06, this huge rifle that he has taken down elk with.
Yeah.
And at point blank range fires 2 shots into this thing. Nothing.
Oh my
He fires
God.
another shot or so, and this one actually, like, he sees a little flesh come off the exit wound in the back. Okay.
Yeah.
And it just kind of turns and trots off back to where it came from. And they're like, okay, well, we can't leave this thing out there. Like, this thing is
No.
like dangerous. So the son and the father, Tom, they get on their horses. They're going out there tracking this thing, right?
Oh, no
And
way.
they're following the footprints. And again, it was a rainy day. It was wet, muddy.
Yeah. It's perfect.
And according to the book, they get to this kind of muddy opening. I think they said it was either an old creek bed or something, or it was a flat, muddy area where it was
Okay.
leaving deep. You could see this thing was heavy. It was leaving deep
Yeah.
footprints. They're following. They just disappear in the middle of nowhere.
Oh shit. Okay.
And they're like, we can't. Where'd this thing go? There's
Yeah.
no. Yeah. So okay.
No drops
So-
of blood. Nothing.
Nothing. No, this thing didn't bleed. They blew a chunk off of it, but still no
Uh-huh.
blood. They go back. This thing smelled, this chunk of flesh smelled like rotting meat already
Oh.
when they got back.
Yeah.
Like it was like it was from an already decayed corpse
Yeah. Yeah.
and
yeah.
everything. And it was just disgusting. Okay. A few days later, or however long later, Ellen is coming back from something, parks the car or whatever. A giant wolf comes up and it has to bend its head down. She's in, like, I think a car. It
Yeah.
has to bend its head down to breathe on the window and everything. So its shoulder came up to the
Fucking
top of the
big.
car.
Yeah.
Huge wolf. So there's this wolf right there, and then she looks, and in the distance on a hill, she sees another huge black dog with a really weird, too large head, standing just watching,
Yeah.
like a huge black dog that she's never
Yeah.
seen anything like before.
Yeah.
And again, so those things eventually they go off, and she's able to get out and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, so these wolves are just like showing up, and they went and talked to some people about the wolves, some authorities,
Yeah.
and they were like, well, there haven't been any wolves really around here since 1929. Okay. And actually, they would reintroduce wolves to this ecosystem, but it would be a year later or two.
Oh, okay.
They would bring them in and reintroduce them to this area. So, giant wolves who don't die, right?
Yeah.
And who disappear.
Yeah.
So they're already terrified. On top of all of that, you have poltergeist activity starting to happen in the house. Okay.
Okay. Explain
so-
that because I'm familiar, but not too familiar.
So Poltergeist is not just a great movie from the 80s.
Of course.
Poltergeist is German for loud ghost, actually.
Okay.
So basically what you have with a poltergeist, the difference between a poltergeist and regular ghost is a poltergeist will usually move stuff, will say stuff, it's like a ghost, like really moving and really like anything you see like in a movie, basically, where a ghost
Yeah.
is like moving shit around and
Yeah.
things like that. There's honestly a lot of these movies got their ideas from these actual cases.
I was
and
going to
things
say
like
that makes sense. Yeah.
Mhm. So, in fact, Poltergeist, I believe, is based on one called the Infield Poltergeist, but don't quote me on that right now.
Okay.
So you would have things that would disappear and reappear somewhere else. For one thing, Ellen talked about how she would like get in the shower, lock the door,
Mhm.
and her brush, her towel, things would disappear and then reappear in some other random part of the house
Oh, fuck.
somewhere else. Again, she's no one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And random things would disappear, things like that. Doors would open and close on their own, which explains the why they had the locks on the doors, which again,
Sure.
honestly, probably wouldn't do much anyway, because if it wants to move the shit, it's gonna move it.
Yeah.
One of the craziest poltergeist things that happened that I really kind of dug was you had Ellen coming in, bringing in the groceries. She put all these groceries away. She left the room to do something. She comes back. All the groceries are back in their bags on the kitchen table,
Oh,
which is
Jesus.
very much exactly like the movie Poltergeist, where she
Yeah.
turns around and the
Yeah.
chairs stack up.
Yeah.
There was let's see, she was keeping this stuff to herself at this time too, because
Sure.
she was like, they're gonna think I'm fucking crazy.
Of course, of
If I
course.
say anything. So Tom starts having things disappear on him though, and he gets mad. Like he's coming at me. He's starting to be like, it's like one of those '90s dads. Like, hey, where the hell what the hell did you do with my, whatever. It's the farming dad.
Yeah.
He had a post hole digger
Okay.
that is like 70 pounds. Like as an implement. I don't know if you've ever my dad had a post hole digger. We've had like I had to work with one of those things when I was helping him like build their house and stuff back in the day. And these things are huge because you got to drop them in. They got to be heavy enough to get in there. He had a post hole digger just like disappear on him. Like he turned around and it was gone. And he was, where the hell is it? A few days later, it shows up 20 foot high in a tree. Yes. No idea how it got there and everything. He was like all pissed, like his son, like, what'd you do with that?
Yeah.
Let's see. There was an instance where Tom asked his son and some friends to move these like big, it's like a fence post, metal fence posts. There's a giant stack of fence posts. He's like, move that stack of fence posts over there, would you and your friends? They did it. They say, this is teenagers.
Yeah.
This is the weird thing though. They say they did it, then they went in, and their dad came back like an hour or two later after they got it done. The posts were back in the same spot that they were.
Okay. Yeah.
Now you could just say that, oh, well, those kids or whatever, but apparently you could see that it was just like an inch off. You could see where they were sitting. You know how like it leaves an indentation in the grass?
Yeah.
And you could see that was moved slightly like an inch, but like these thousands of pounds of fence posts.
Yeah.
So it had moved them back, but it didn't quite move them back exactly to where they were supposed to be.
Jesus.
Let me see. Another thing happened like that with the Tad, the son, which again is the pseudonym. Built a pile of wood or something, made like a pile, like was stacking up some wood. Left 30 minutes to have some lunch, came back. It was 100 yards down the tree line from where he left it. Wow. So that's a lot of energy to expend if you're like a ghost or something, right?
Sure.
Let's see. So then they start seeing objects in the sky. Okay.
Oh, this is where we're
starting to see stuff. This is where we're starting to get some weird stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. This is where I get super interested because, like, not only is it cryptids, quote unquote, or ghosts. Now it's something
UFOs, baby.
It's interdimensional or it's interplanetary. Yeah.
It's gonna get even more interdimensional, my friend.
Oh, I got chills. I love this shit.
They started seeing objects, triangular objects with no noise and everything. He said it looked like I forget those the stealth fighters. He said he saw one, but it was like going really slow. It was like a snub version of a stealth fighter.
Yeah.
Like kind of a black triangle, but it was like moving slow and was able to stop, and it made no noise. And he said looked like it was shining lights, like different colored lights on the ground, multiple colored lights, but he couldn't see where the lights were coming from. He would just see them on the ground.
Yeah.
Which this is the stuff that gets really fucky. Like, what the hell is that? Apparently Ellen also, as she was driving in one night, had one of these triangular things flying over her car. And she only knew it because she saw the lights on the ground, like he saw.
Yeah.
Couldn't see where they're coming from. Looked up, saw the tip of the triangle, and could see the wings out the windows. It was right above her, keeping pace with her car.
Yeah.
I believe she was. I think this is the same time. Let's see. They've saw classic dome, classic shape UFOs. The dome on top on the disc. They called them Mexican hat shaped, which I was like, okay, interesting, like sombreros.
Yeah.
Boxy shaped objects, like almost like a refrigerator or something, but huge.
Yeah.
Like RV sized.
Floating.
Yeah. In fact, Tom's nephew came to visit from the city. This was a kid who was like from the way they kind of presented it was like this kid was like the parents were like, oh, go over here and Uncle Tom you can work with Uncle Tom for a summer.
Yeah.
It's like honestly sounds like hell. Is most of us were that city kid.
I completely get that. Yes.
And it's like I'm not like, you want to go out with your more rough and tumble, like relatives and stuff, like
Yeah.
way out in the middle of the Utah desert.
Fuck that.
No thanks. So his nephew came to visit from the city, okay? And while they're out, like he's I think they were talking about him being like afraid of the dark or something. So he's like, well, let's go on. Tom liked to go on night walks. And he refused to stop, even though all this shit was happening. Like he's one of those like men's men. Like,
of course,
I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna keep going.
I ain't worried about them.
I'm gonna keep doing it. I ain't worried about it. I ain't worried when in fact he was very much worried about it.
Sure.
So they're out for a night walk. He's like, we'll go out for a night walk. Come on, it'll be good for you.
Yeah.
We'll see the stars. It'll be great. They're out there. I think it was Tom, his nephew, and his son. And they're walking out on the property and they kind of spy way far out there. And again, so you saw this is a huge property.
Yeah.
Absolutely huge. And out in the distance, they spot what they think is an RV. It's got like a red light on the back and a white light on the front. And Tom's like, oh man, like they must have gotten lost or something and got out here maybe. And well, let's still just go out there and see what they're doing.
Sure.
So they start walking towards this thing. And when they're about, I think 100 yards away from it, they shouldn't, and it's dark. They shouldn't be able to see them approaching from an RV.
Yeah.
It starts to move away from them.
The RV?
Noiselessly, mind you. The RV starts moving noiselessly away from them. And again, so it's dark. All they see is this tail light and the headlight. And they're like they start running after this thing. Okay.
Okay.
Well, pretty soon they see it kind of like go up and down a little bit like that. And like, it's starting to do like that. They're like, what in the world? It's like, it's going over something. They realize it's like it's stepping over the fences.
Ooh.
Like it's like go. And they're like, because they get to the fence. They're like, oh, okay. Interesting. Well, they chase it all the way to where there's this like line of trees, like some kind of olive trees or something. And they're like 30 or 100. Oh, they're tall.
Yeah.
Like you won't be able to go around them. Tom's like, we got him. This motherfucker lifts up and goes over the trees and just keeps going into the sky and disappears. And the nephew who had come to visit was like in tears. They made a note in the book. It was really mean. It was really mean. It was like, like his son was like just like made of tougher stuff and was like, they were just like looking at it like, oh my God. And the nephew who had like gone there just for like a toughen up visit was like crying.
Yeah.
And
of course he was.
They also made a note that nephew never came back for a visit. So his parents never let him go back.
Oh, fuck that. Yeah. Why would they?
So, and then again, so one night, also speaking of these, it was the Jersey Devil. Oh God, it might be. He might show up. Who knows?
Yeah.
No, so you got this RV that flew off into space.
Unbelievable.
That I believe in the book, it was the same night.
Okay.
When Ellen's coming home down it's a long ass driveway down. You can't see the house from the road. So you got to drive this long, dark road that like having the UFO on top of her, pacing her, like shining the lights on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I think this was the same night. Also, she was, I believe, either home with the kids or home alone. And Tom was away on some kind of trip. I don't know exactly what kind of trip. He was gone. So just imagine being on this like huge ass, like dark as hell, creepy ass ranch, like this
Lord.
poltergeist ranch.
Yeah.
And you're home alone. She has some
yourself.
dinner and everything. Well, she goes to the kitchen, to the sink to kind of wash up, and she looks out the window, and just off in the distance, she sees what looks like an RV. And she can see a window.
I got chills.
In the RV. And she can see inside. And she sees what looks like a desk, okay, in this RV. And this figure is walking back and forth, like almost like pacing inside of this RV. And it looks like a person, she said.
Yeah.
It looked like a person just wearing all black, like a black jumpsuit, even black headgear, like a black helmet of sorts.
Yeah.
With a black visor. Next thing she knows, this thing comes out a door right next to this window and just stands looking right in her direction, looking right at her.
Nope.
Yeah, nope. It's got a visor and everything like that. Like for all
Yeah.
she knows, it's a person, but like she's like freaking out. She calls
Sure.
Tom, says, "You gotta get back here. This shit is too much for me."
Yeah.
He drives all through the night, gets there in the morning, which again, good. Yeah, you could tell, like you could tell he kind of seemed like he was like grumpy and stuff sometimes, but he was a good guy. Like he was
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I'll come back. They loved each other and stuff.
Yeah.
They went out to the spot where she saw this thing, and they found these 18-inch footprints with like a pronounced rounded heel.
Holy shit.
So this person was at least 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
Is what
huge.
they kind of estimated.
Yeah.
So
That's
so
incredible.
Isn't it weird? So the weird thing is, again, if you choose to believe these people, they see these crazy batshit things.
Mhm.
Then they're not finding like crazy good evidence, but they're finding still something. Oh, I didn't just imagine that.
Yeah,
Shit.
yeah. Those are footprints.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, that's great. Tom would routinely see portals. What he calls
What a drop. That's a
this
huge
is a drop. This is a huge drop. This is a huge drop. I didn't know where to put this really. And honestly, a lot of this stuff, it's hard to tell narratively.
Sure.
Without going back and kind of explaining a lot of different things. But there were he would see these like yellow, sickly yellow, like orangish yellow balls of light. He thought they were like orbs at first. But what he ended up figuring out was that these were like portals, because one night he saw one opening up and he saw one of those black triangles coming through, like basically it is kind of like in the sky, like coming right at him.
Incredible.
And it comes out of this portal noiselessly and just goes in the portal, just whoop, goes away. I have told you, I think, my story about the orange light I saw that grew and grew and grew and then shrunk.
Yeah.
When I heard this story, it made me go like, oh shit, did I see one of those?
Yeah, you saw a portal. That's amazing.
Because apparently it looks like a light unless you're looking like directly in the right angle of it, or you're like looking. There's a couple of times that they look into these things with night vision binoculars, by the way. Yeah, pretty soon. There's one instance of that that's fucking terrifying. I'll tell you about in a little bit.
Oh, I love it.
So what he noticed though too is he was driving away like on the road one night. He saw one of.
You muted yourself, Jerry. I don't know what happened. Your microphone got muted. I don't know what happened.
Sorry, my screen's been going like my screen's going out. I don't know what's going on anyway.
Yeah.
They know. They know we're talking. No, so what he noticed when he was driving one night, he saw one pop up, but you couldn't really see it from behind. Like he was driving and he's like, he noticed that like the farther he got to it, it kind of like it was just like a flat object.
Yeah.
You could see the edge, but when he got past it, he turned around and came back. You can't see it unless you're like on that side of it. Okay. And then the only way you could kind of see into them is if you were at their fucking ranch house.
Oh my God.
So it was like incredible. It was pointing right at their house.
Yes.
Is what it seemed
not
like.
Any other direction. Okay.
The insane one, this one blows my mind and is pretty cool. It's crazy. It reminds me of Doctor Strange a little bit.
Okay.
He's saying he sees one of these portals opens up, and this is at night. They were always at night most of the time. These portals.
Of course.
At night, he sees this portal open up, and he looks through, and he's able to see what he said was a blue sky, like a daytime sky through this portal.
Jesus, I love this.
Which is trippy as hell.
Oh, could you imagine?
Yeah. It's absolutely batshit insane. Just like imagine, you're like walking around, like doing your night walks because you will not give them up.
No,
for anything. You're a tough guy. You're a tough Mormon farmer. You're not gonna stop and like just like for some ghost refrigerator RVs full of aliens and stuff.
I don't believe it.
No. Oh, Boop, what's up? Boop? What's up, Boopenheim? Okay, so that would happen, and then now we would start to see orbs. Blue orbs, orange orbs, all at night, things like that. Like and people talk about. I'm not talking about the little like pieces of dust that people capture on film and
pictures,
stuff
yeah,
on digital
yeah.
cameras, like artifacts and things like that. We're talking about like legitimate, like solid, like plasma like objects.
Ooh, like St. Elmo's
outside.
fire.
Kind of, but
Okay.
intelligently driven.
Oh,
These
fuck.
things felt
Good
intelligent. Here you
Lord.
go. Get ready for this one. So there was one night that Tom and Ellen were outside, again, enjoying their outside time. When they see one of these orbs way off in the distance, a blue one show up and start flying. It's kind of flying around the trees in and out. It comes out. It's kind of bothering the cows a little bit. It goes and it flies around the horses' heads and everything. And the horses just kind of like are like they're acting like it's like flies or whatever. They're just like,
Yeah.
hey, stop. And I forget exactly what happens, but they're like watching this thing, and all of a sudden, it beelines straight for them. It comes right up to them.
Yeah.
It gets like, I think they said it was like 20 to 50 feet away from them or something.
Not a
Really
fan.
close. And up close, this is how they described it. They said it looked like a glass orb filled with some sort of illuminated swirling blue liquid that it looked like water about to boil almost, the way it was
beautiful.
roiling.
Yeah.
It looks beautiful. They said what followed was an intense feeling of fear. They said that it was almost like they couldn't move. They were stuck there watching this thing.
Yeah.
And they were filled with such the most intense fear they've both ever felt in their entire lives. It was the most fearful. They just couldn't move. And Ellen, not knowing what to do, again, both of them are kind of stuck in this trance. She shines the flashlight they got at the thing, and it zooms off. Okay. So they head inside.
Yeah. Of course they do.
They're inside watching TV, things like that. Well, while they're inside, they notice this same blue orb going past every one of the windows, just slowly going around their house. And as it's doing this, the lights dim. Okay. This is very Spielbergian.
I love this. Yeah.
In this, right. Yeah. So its batteries not included or whatever, but again, terrifying. It then goes away. And as it goes away, the lights come back up.
Kind of Stranger Things-esque. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You got very like, which again, that has that Amblin feel, that Spielbergian kind of thing going on. With the orbs, though, came cattle mutilation. And so again, if you are a little squeamish, if you're not very, if you don't like to talk, if you don't like to hear bad things happening to animals, then you may want to tune out. But we're going to go ahead and head on with this one. So they were out looking for a cattle. For one thing, part of cattle ranching is going out and like fixing fences. It's looking for the cows. It's bringing them back because you got all this land they can graze on. You kind of let them go out, but then you got to go out and count them and make sure that you've got every single one of them. So they were doing this. I think it was in the winter. It was snowing, and they were following this cow that was kind of like out. They thought it was hurt or whatever, and they were like looking for it. And they follow the tracks, and it gets to like they follow these tracks to the end, and it's just in the middle of nowhere. There's no trees, there's no nothing for this thing to go to. This cow, it's like this cow is just plucked from the ground.
Yeah.
And they didn't hear anything, they didn't see anything, and it was snowing, but at the same time, you're not gonna have like some helicopter come and like helicopter off a 1,000-pound animal.
No, there's no way.
So that one was just gone. They're like, well, okay. I think they had a few that just straight up disappeared.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. Unfortunately, not all of them would have just kind of like unfortunately, they would have to see some of the fates of these things.
Okay.
So there was one time they were looking for a lost calf. This was more of like on a rainy day or something like that. And they're out looking. I believe it was the son looked down in kind of like this creek bed, and he saw this heifer down in the creek bed and was having trouble getting out of the creek. Couldn't like go up the side. It was sliding in the mud and everything. So he made a note. They're like, okay, we'll come back for this heifer when we find this calf. They found the calf. They come back for this heifer, and okay, they were only gone like about 40-ish minutes, even like not very, like an hour or so at the most.
Yeah.
So when they come back, they found it lying dead in this like this brush here. I think they said they thought it had like it might have had a hurt leg, but at the same time, it was just straight up dead. They go down there to check it out, and its anus had been cored out in a 6-inch diameter. Like just like if you took like a circular saw and like a vacuum and just and just like a perfect circle, like just cut, like cored, took a core sample of this thing's
my God, that's insane.
And also all of its insides were gone. So it was almost as if they then just left the rest. No blood as well. I guess so. You might say it's raining, but there was completely no blood. No blood at all. No blood. There should be something.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. So internal organs all sorted out and blood everywhere out. Okay. So there's another one that happens later on that's like kind of even more gruesome, but we're going to save that because that happened during the time when the investigations were happening on the
Okay. So this is
we're not even to the family. Yet. This is still just this is just they spent a year without like having anyone come to figure this out.
All kept it to themselves.
Oh yeah, we're basically just out there like probably chain smoking because it's the 90s and everything.
Yes.
Imagine just like Joyce Byers if she was like
exactly
her entire family.
Exactly.
It's like the Byers family out here, but with like an actual dad who will stay.
Yeah.
So word kind of started to spread around, I guess, a little bit. And they had this big dude, like big, tall stranger show up, blonde guy, drove onto the property and, found Tom and his son and said, "Hey, I'd really like to meditate on your land." Okay. And they're like, "Okay, sure." They're like, "Of course, I'm sure that they were these good, God-fearing cattle ranchers were having a little bit of a laugh, but they're like, you know what? It's not going to harm anything. Let's just take
come on over, hippie,
for a little bit.
Yeah,
we'll take him out and then we'll humor him." So the dad and the son took him out to this field. He goes out to the middle of the field, kind of stands like this, and it's just like closed his eyes and is meditating.
Let me see if we can get that image again.
Do whatever. Just kind of like doing like just like the the Christ the Redeemer kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he's out there for just a couple minutes, and they're sitting back, kind of chuckling, probably, this guy, and they start to hear a bell. Okay. Tom's like, "Well, that's weird. We don't have any bells on any of the cows. Like, where is that bell coming from?" They were like way out on the property, Well, then they start noticing some movement up in the trees, like at the edge of this field. And he's like, "Well, what in the world?" And this guy is oblivious. He's still like, "You will kneel before Masamida and Gyarados," out there, right? He says, and you couldn't really tell what was up there. It was almost like, in like the hot heat of the summer where you kind of see like the steam or see like the waves coming off the pavement. Like, you can't tell. It was like, well, then they see something running towards this guy, but they can't see it. It's that like wavy heat thing. Runs right up to this guy's face and does a guttural, inhuman. They said it sounded like a cross between a bear and a lion roar, which right in this dude's face. And this dude jumps back, falls to the ground, runs and climbs up into Tom's arms, apparently. And Tom had to tell him, like, apparently then that thing ran back into the trees.
Jesus.
All it did was run up, scare the shit out of this guy, and run away, which again kind of brings up a trickster element kind of thing to this, which is again something I know you're interested in. I'm interested in as well. Weird trickster shit. Why? It makes no sense. It's almost like a prank. But anyway, he's up in Tom's arms, and like Tom is like, listen. They were saying it was almost like, when you're saving someone from drowning, you almost have to knock them out because they're so like panicky. Was how this dude was. And he's like, "Listen, if you don't get off of me, I'm going to have to hit you." And he says, "Get me off this ranch and you got a deal." And everything. And he left and never came back. He kept saying, "This place is cursed. This place is cursed. This place is cursed."
Oh my God.
That was again completely random. No, didn't know what was going on.
Has
okay?
this story peaked at any capacity? Are we still like trudging up?
Get ready.
the
This
hill?
is the turning point. This is the thing
Oh,
that
I
happened
can't
that
wait.
made him put an ad in the paper and say like, we need some
Selling
help
this
figuring out
shit.
what the fuck's going on.
Oh no, that's selling
So-
it. They're just trying to get an investigation going now.
Yeah.
Oh, I got
they just wanted
chills.
help. They just wanted help.
Shit.
One night, Tom's out again on the land, and he's got his ranch. He's got 3 ranch dogs that he was very like his best ranch dogs, his favorite ones,
Yes.
out with him. They help like herd the cattle, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He sees an orange orb kind of out in the distance flying around, like one of the, like just flying around doing its thing. And it starts flying around the cows, and he's like, they've had cattle mutilations now. And like I said, they were very proud of their, like, we don't even lose 1% of our cattle.
No,
And they had like lost all these cattle just being plucked out of nowhere and then just absolutely gutted
Drained.
with no way, basically fucking ass blasted.
Yeah. Drained.
So he's like, you know what? Fuck you. Not again. He
Yeah.
sends his 3 dogs. He sends them after. He's like, get them. And those things go out there. They like try to attack this thing. It sees them and it's almost curious. It comes down kind of to their level, and it'll like stay right there. But they said that anytime, according to the book and what they said, Tom said, is they would go to bite at it and it would move just at the last second, just out of their bite, things like that. And he's watching them and he's like, come on, get it. Like Palpatine, get it,
Yeah.
They fly behind a copse of trees. That thing flies behind a copse of trees, and the dogs follow. He hears the barking, but then he hears the barks turn into sharp, pained yelps and then silence.
No.
Tom's too scared at this point to even go check on the dogs.
Yeah.
And again, he's like, this is a big, tough, strong man.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everyone's like yelling, like, go check on the dogs, you pussy. Go check on the, but
Yeah.
all this shit he's gone through. And then you're like, fuck it. Go after him. Get it.
Nope.
And then you hear these 3 prize dogs. And then nothing. I'm going to bed. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll see it in the morning. And he did.
Yep.
He did. So he went to check on them the next morning. He went to see what had happened. So he goes around that little bunch of trees, and what he said he found were 3 flattened circles of grass, and in the middle of each of those was like a greasy black blob in each one. So 3 greasy black blobs. So it had basically incinerated these dogs, is what he thinks. Just to like, not till there was nothing but just like a small little smidge of something.
Oh my God.
At that point, he goes, I'm fucking calling the Ghostbusters. I need help. Like, what the hell? I don't know what's going on. So I forget what newspaper he put it in. He put out this call for help. Robert Bigelow, I don't know if you know the Budget Inn and Suites. He owns that and everything, but he's also big into the paranormal and space and aerospace. Any billionaire is into space.
He pays for UFO stuff. That's apparently what I just
honestly, let me just say, eat the rich. But at the same time, I would give me the money. I'll go look at this UFO stuff and try not to get burned to a greasy black blob.
That's insane. He looks pretty cool though.
So he made his money in Las Vegas. He made these Budget Inn and Suites, and then it became a big, huge thing. He had put together this team that he called NIDS. And no paranormal UFO organization has a cool name. Their acronym never spells anything cool, but NIDS was the National Institute for Discovery Science. Is what he called it. So, and these were essentially guys who would go on his dime and these were scientists, like people like who were actual legit scientists. He started this because he was upset with MUFON and the other organizations. There was kind of a lot of infighting and everything, and there weren't any like real like scientists. So he said, like, I'm gonna get these like legit top minds and I'm gonna send them out here. Top men.
Men are working on it right now.
but so he buys the ranch from the Gormans. The Gormans move off, but Tom is kept on to work the cows and everything, like work with the cows and things like that. So they still come on the ranch and see things, right? But they were living off of the ranch like 20 miles.
They no longer live on the ranch at that.
They
well,
no longer live on the ranch.
But at this point in the story, and this is still the 90s.
This is still and this is banking on 1997 now, I believe.
Okay.
Or 1995. Yeah, this study went on forever. So you have many odd things that did happen while they were on there. So you had Tom and a researcher that were walking outside one night. And I've heard a couple different things. I think this was Tom and another researcher, and one of the researchers there. They were outside at night, I think walking back towards the homestead, and that they said that they heard voices talking in some unknown language, and they sounded mocking, like it sounded like it was mocking them.
Weird.
But they heard these voices 20 feet above their heads.
Oh, no. Nope.
And they're like, yeah, we're done. We're done. Puts me out. That shit. I was like, that puts me out, man. Just imagine you're out just like talking with your buddies and you just hear like 20 feet above you.
Oh my God. There's nothing above you. That's such a good freaky thing.
It's fucking weird, man. It's so fucking weird. One night, while on one of the I think they were they were up on the ridge.
Yeah.
There were a couple of researchers out, looking for stuff. So they set up a lot of kind of different things here. They set up these towers, these small like raised platforms in a fenced-in area, and they would have dogs as natural sensors, like living biosensors out there. They would have a researcher on the platform and a dog in the fence to kind of be able to corroborate if they were seeing something.
Yes.
And they had these research stations they would do, but these guys were up on top of this ridge one night and they're kind of looking around. And again, one of them has like the binoculars out, right? And the guy, I believe it was the author of the book was up there with this guy, or no, it was another person. If I'm thinking correctly, I can't remember. They didn't use any real names, so we don't know who any of these people really are.
Yeah.
But you know who a couple of them are because they've come out since then. But again, you can go look that up on your own. You had one of the researchers. They're sitting up on top of this ridge in the dark, looking out on these fields and the trees, and then like different things like that. One of them goes, the one that with the binoculars goes, Jesus. He goes, what? He's like. And he says that he's like, I see something in the woods. It's huge and black in the trees. And he goes, what? Well, what do you see? What do you see? And he goes, I can't tell. It's big and black. I can't tell if it's in the trees or behind the trees, but it's blocking out the stars.
Oh my God. No,
That's how huge.
No. That's the thing too. Like, you don't think about how scary the idea of something being that much bigger is on land. You know what I mean? Like, the only thing comparable is like an elephant.
Well, I think this was supposed to be like a craft, but at the same time, the way he was talking about, I don't know if it's in the trees or behind the trees. Seemed like part of it was close to the ground, or it was far enough away that it was like, what the hell, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. So then we have another cattle mutilation we'll talk about. We're kind of circling around towards the end. There's a lot more you can kind of go and read about this kind of stuff. And I'll let y'all do it, but I've got a few more stories. Don't worry, buddy. Don't worry.
Okay,
we're getting some good stuff. So there's another cattle mutilation while I forgot to show my predator that I made.
Oh, what do you mean?
Okay, hold on. Let's rewind real quick back to the guy who was meditating. Okay,
yeah.
Later, Tom and apparently the family was watching Predator on TV.
Yeah.
And when the Predator was in stealth mode, they go, "That's what we saw. That's like what we saw that ran at the guy."
That.
So here we go. That's I think a drawing of the Predator in stealth mode.
I got chills.
Like if you like
see
something, and they didn't see they didn't say they saw eyes or anything like that, but just like if you see just like a clear shape or something.
Yeah.
It's a little unsettling for sure. It's a lot unsettling. So okay, now we're back to present day.
The researchers,
we had another cattle mutilation here while these researchers are on there. So apparently Tom and Ellen This was in the middle of the day too, is what from what I heard, from what they say in the book. It's the middle of the day, bright sunlight, a lot of this kind of stuff. The cattle mutilations happened in the daytime.
Weird. Okay.
Which is another thing. It's like no one, and again, cattle mutilation has been well documented. It's been going on forever. They say it's predators, but most of if you look them up, it doesn't look
not at all. I looked one up earlier.
The stories never look, or the stories never sound like it. Never sounds like it's like this is fucking wild.
Yeah.
So they're out tagging cows. They put one on like this little calf and the mom that was like kind of right there in this field, and they kind of walked off to do other ones. Went around. Well, about 20 minutes or so later, they hear this cow losing her mind. They come back, and this mother of the calf was kind of going in a semicircle back and forth, running, losing its mind. It was scared out of its goddamn head.
Yeah.
They go and they find. This is the carcass that I'll try to send you a picture of later, you sicko.
This is an actual. There's an actual image of this one. Oh,
all of the meat was removed from this cow except for the head. Just the head. It was like it cut around. So the head was just like the cow's head, except for it was missing the ear that they put the tag on. Like looked like someone had cut it off with a scalpel.
Yeah,
that's what they said.
Yeah.
So that tag ear was gone.
Yeah.
Surgically removed. The head was intact, and then just skeleton covered in pink, like what remained.
Yeah.
The rest of the flesh was gone. And it was laid kind of like ritualistically and everything like that. But also the legs had each been ripped off at the knee and laid ritualistically kind of the same equal distance away from the body. It was presented.
Yes, this is
and there was no blood. This was a dry day, no blood, no nothing. If you look at it, you can see like red on the bones, but of course,
sure.
The meat was just removed from that.
And this is like, there's no way someone can F with them this hard. You know what I mean? Like,
so they went and they dropped. They on this documentary I watched, they said they went and took buckets of blood and they kind of poured some blood out onto the ground and went back every day or so to check, and you still saw the stains on the grass and on the ground.
Wow.
A couple of days.
So it's
in
not
20 minutes, in 20 minutes, this cow was right there. They walk away, they come back, and it is complete. It's an absolute horror show.
Oh, good Lord.
What the hell, So then you've had all this cattle mutilation, things like that. They had these 4 prized bulls. Okay. They had these 4 prized bulls, and they had them in this corral kind of up towards the front, and they're driving past in the truck to go do something else, Ellen and Tom. And Ellen says to Tom kind of like, oh, I don't know what I'd do, or something, like if anything ever happened to these bulls, because they were like these were very virile bulls. These are some Michael McCoy bulls. Okay.
Yes.
Like just very like these like the sperm shoot right through the egg. It's great.
Michael McCoy bulls.
So what's funny is she says this. They drive off, they come back like a little bit later. That pen is empty. And they're like, whoa, no way.
Yeah.
Worth like thousands each.
Sure, of course.
They stop the truck. Tom gets out to look. Ellen's crying in the truck because she's like, we lost it. And this is the trickster thing, because it's almost like it heard what she was saying.
And we're gonna take it from you. And
he's walking around, looking around this pen. Part of this corral, there's like this, it's like a small trailer. And the way they described it in some of the shows I listened to, like they said, they made it sound like it was a cattle trailer. It was like a trailer with like tools and stuff, like a smaller box truck.
Yeah.
Kind of sitting there.
Sure.
And he just happens to look in there, and there's those 4 bulls sitting in there silent, like in a daze.
Like they got picked up and placed there.
Yeah, but the doors hadn't been opened. It was wired shut and everything like that. They don't know how there was one way in to get from the corral that they were in, and it was wired shut. They opened it up. There was cobwebs on it and everything still, so they wouldn't have been able to get in there themselves.
Holy, that's incredible.
And also they were just sitting there. So then he like I forget if he banged on the side or he like said he yelled he said something and it got him out of their stupor. They destroyed the inside of that thing.
It was fucking
Shit
nuts.
everywhere because they were scared of as
Yeah.
hell.
Yeah.
Ran out and everything. They finally got him out and got him. Took them 4 hours to get these things like corralled back into the corral because they bust out.
Yeah.
Took them 4 hours to get them back in there. How did it get them in that thing in 30 to 40 minutes?
Yeah.
Just for them driving down and coming back.
How did they not leave after that? That'd have been it. Like genuinely.
Well, again, they're not living on the ranch at this time.
But
but they're still going out there working during the end of the day.
Good Lord.
Okay. So they check this thing out. You're gonna love this. It was the part of the pin by like the bars of the pin next to that trailer were magnetized for a couple days after.
Yeah.
And it was like highly magnetized. You could stick something on there,
Oh,
but it went away after a couple of days.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's fucking incredible.
And I have a picture of these bulls. I think this was taken right after, if I'm correct. I tried to find a picture that they showed apparently they still have the trailer on the ranch. It's kind of like up on like a metal frame or something. So it would have been real hard to get them up and over it.
They are Michael McCoy bulls. You can just tell.
Yeah. It's just those things are huge, right? Yeah, Michael McCoy, just like full of cum. Absolutely full of cum.
They just appeared in that trailer.
They appeared in the trailer. So they were glad that they found him, but at the same time, it was almost like something was listening on their conversation and just did that to them for no reason.
Not a fan.
So here's the one that creeps me the hell out the most.
Ooh,
okay, we're gonna go back to the portals. Okay, and let me see here. We got a couple more little things here before we end and kind of discuss. So
this is great,
tends
by the
to
way.
be so. I'm glad you're enjoying this. I hope everyone out there. I hope you guys are like eating this up too.
I love this shit.
Okay. So here, there seems to be a couple of things that you're not supposed to do on this ranch so anytime they would dig, weird shit would happen. Like when Tom had dug like a drainage ditch or something, or an irrigation ditch a couple of times, and you would have like orbs and lights and things like out there, like scanning and things like that.
Yeah.
I didn't say that there's a bunch of weird random things that like I want to say that like I couldn't really. It's just like I'm just going to be saying random things.
Yeah.
If I'm not too careful with this, but like they said, they would constantly hear like metallic banging sounds and like it's like sounds like machinery, heavy machinery underground.
Oh my God.
Their thing.
Yes.
Right. How insane. But besides the digging, you're also not supposed to. Apparently, if you meditate, it causes shit too. Which
which we saw. Yeah.
So the researchers would do that. They would meditate and they would get some weird shit to happen.
Yeah.
One of these particular instances, a researcher meditated during the day in this field. Later that night, they come up. They're up on the ridge that overlooks this field. Okay. So they're always like up on the ridge, like overlooking all this shit. So when they're up on this ridge, it's just two guys. One sees this faint yellow light start to appear, the faint yellow orange light appear in the middle of this just reminds me of Doctor Strange, honestly.
Yeah.
But they're watching this light appear and it just looks like a light from way up there. Well, he had packed up the camera. They were about to go home when this started happening. He's like, oh shit. So he starts to get the camera out. Got a couple of pictures, but it just looks like a dim little light in the field.
Okay.
The other guy has the night vision binoculars.
Yeah.
He's looking at this thing. And he said he looks at this thing when it's fully open. It got about 2 to 3 feet wide. And he goes, oh my God, it's a tunnel. When you was looking into it, it looked like a 3D tunnel that went back through.
Oh, I love it.
And he starts going, oh, Jesus. Oh, God, there's something in there. There's something coming out of the tunnel. It's crawling in there. It's black and humanoid.
Nope.
It's crawling through the tunnel. Oh, God, it doesn't have a face. Oh, God. Oh, no, it just, oh, man. it just got out of the tunnel, and it crawled out of the tunnel and ran off into the into the night. So this dude is freaking the hell out.
Of course he is.
Watching this thing, and he said it was like army crawling almost through the tunnel. Black humanoid shape, no face, gets out and just runs away. And for this, what this made me think of was Stranger Things when you first see
the
best. Goddamn
I got chills.
Demogorgon.
That was such an awesome moment.
That dude, this first episode scared the hell out of me when you see this thing. And honestly, this is the shot that scares me the most. And this is probably more what it felt like. Is this right here?
Oh my God, Jerry!
Way back in the background.
Shit, I've got chills. Yeah, what a great moment.
Oh God. Anyway, so that's what I picture with this thing. Is just like some faceless humanoid crawling out of this tunnel, and then the tunnel disappeared. It was gone. So that was one of those portal type things. Yeah, that's what.
Ooh, that's
you don't want to go out there and study all this shit.
God, could you imagine? I don't want to drive by now. I said I wanted to drive by, but I know.
you probably see a UFO and stuff like here. If you're with a group of people, here's what we need to do: is we need to do a Bombad investigation.
We really do.
Where we go out there with a crew, right? Me and you and like some people, and we just watch and stuff like that. Yeah, and John, our crew. Well, and, you know, we got Stan. We got Stan too.
John and Stan.
Here's the last big thing. This is the only evidence they have of the entire. I think they spent about 10 years on the ranch. NIDS did.
Like empirical evidence. Like this is like
yes, and it's non-evidence too, because just wait until you hear what this is. So they ended up in the middle of this field where there was a lot of shit happening. They set up, I think, 4 poles with cameras facing 3 different directions so they could get like every angle to try to catch something. They're like, there's no way if anything happens here, we're going to get it. Of course, shit would always happen just off camera and stuff. Of course, that's convenient, right?
Yeah.
But there was one time where one of the poles, they lost complete power to it. They're like, okay, what's going on? So they go out there. This thing was put up there. Like they had like the wiring coming down this wooden pole through like PVC piping. And they had what they said was, and this sounds stupid, but I think what they're talking about. It's like some heavy duty duct tape.
Yeah.
Attaching it to the pole. So the duct tape was just completely gone. Not ripped down. It had completely disappeared. The PVC pipe was down. The wires had been ripped out. Sections of wire were missing and just gone. Like it was like, and they akined it almost to like that calf that felt like it was just so viciously, brutally maimed.
Yeah.
But so delicately laid out for display.
Yeah.
Is like how this felt, they said. And they were like, well, we got it on camera, right? Because the other cameras look at each camera pole, looked at the other camera poles. So they went and they're watching, and this is grainy 1990s, early 2000s footage. And they don't see shit. They're like, what the hell? You can't see anything. They don't see anything. They sent it. And so enhancement is not a thing. Like whenever you're like watching but you can get it slightly like doctored up a little bit so you can see a little better.
Yeah.
So they sent this thing to Las Vegas to get kind of doctored up a little more so they could like hopefully clean it up a little bit, see something. And they see the exact time. They had the exact timestamp and everything. They see at that 8:03, the lights on those cameras on that pole just go out. And that's all they saw. So that's the only evidence they have of anything actually happening. And it is evidence of nothing.
And no pictures, no videos.
No pictures, no video. Well, I mean, there's pictures of different things, but like nothing of like note. Like they have pictures of orbs and everything, and I'm sure they have pictures somewhere that they're just not that they're keeping for their purposes and everything like that. You know, things like that. But all that to say, or well, you have Bob Bigelow and them. They were there for years and years and years. It is recently, I think. This might have been like 10 or so years ago. I can't remember. Like around 2016.
Okay.
That wasn't 10 years ago. That was anyway.
8.
A little while ago, it was bought by another big entrepreneur, this like real estate guy.
Yeah.
Who's big into the paranormal. And he on the Hunt for the Skinwalker documentary that came out in 2018, he was like, "Oh, I want my identity a secret," so they gave him a scary robot voice and like never showed his face.
Yeah.
Here's a picture of him and Post Malone at the ranch.
God,
this
guy
is the
looks
guy
so
who currently
strange,
owns
too.
it. And Post Malone, apparently, I didn't know this until I was looking for pictures of the actual ranch. Post Malone got to visit Skinwalker Ranch.
Interesting.
So there you go. That's
Look, he's
the
got a
little
gun.
Bombad
He's got a
button.
gun. He's got a gun in his hand on the.
Dude, this guy has security guys with AKs. It's weird. It's
interesting.
It's like a power trip almost kind of thing. So this is kind of the Bombad button on this whole shindig.
Wow.
Is all that weirdness happened, and 20 years later or so, 30 years later, here comes Post Malone to sing Sunflower in the ruins of one of these haunted ass buildings.
Wow.
So yeah, there you go. That's Skinwalker Ranch, the Bombad treatment.
That was amazing. I love. Look at this, Katie in the chat. Typical Katie. What time?
Right
are you
about
wrapping
now.
up?
Right about now, my dear.
Wow, that was incredible, Jerry. I want to look at photos of this, but I know they're like. I mean, this.
You got to be careful with the like. I don't. For one thing, I didn't want to get taken down on YouTube. For the, I didn't know if like the cattle mutilation would cause anything to us to get flagged for anything, but.
Sure.
Also, I was gonna show some. It's more gross than I remember. Like I remember seeing like pictures and stuff when I was a kid. It's more gross than I remember some of these things. Again, no blood, but just absolute carnage all the way down.
Creepy. I love this.
It's weird.
Thank you, Jerry.
Well, yeah, of course. No, so I hope you guys were thoroughly spooked out there.
God, that was good.
Talking about this stuff. I love talking about this weird shit that has happened, like the mysteries of the universe and things like that.
Yeah, of course.
Who knows? You guys might get another conversation about that in the next month or so with some friends of ours and myself. Possibly. We'll see.
Oh, okay.
I might be cooking something.
We'll
see. We'll see. I might be cooking, but yeah, no, just. Tell me what are your initial reactions to that? Like, kind of again, like it's take it with a grain of salt again, but to me it just proves that the universe is a bigger place. It's more weird that we don't understand everything. That we truly that we feel like we do.
Well,
you know?
And then there's always like certain states too, in terms of like locations wise. Like some states are way more haunted or way more filled with this kind of thing than others. Yeah. You know, like Colorado's a famous one for UFOs, and Alaska is a very famous one for UFOs, and Utah is, and I know some parts of California are too. But like,
a lot up here in Michigan, apparently too.
Yeah, you said that.
I've seen a few. And apparently it's like a huge thing. They love water too.
Yeah. Yep. I know my mom was there for the famous Gulf Breeze incident that took place in the U.
Ooh, Gulf Breeze in Florida. Oh,
in '89.
Man.
My mom could tell you she saw it. But anyway, that's a whole different thing. But
nice. Very nice.
I love that this is more than just UFOs. You know, this is more Native American spiritualism, and like I love the idea of like meditating and like summoning something because you're maybe putting positive energy out. It seems like
something
a very
from another dimension.
Zone. Yeah, it seems like a very negative zone, and like whatever haunts there, whatever exists there, does not want any sort of other energy there. Like it's meant to be an area of not dark energy, but an area of energy that's, you know, not welcoming.
Right. Well, and you know, I think a lot of people will go, well, it makes no sense whatever these things are doing. If it's aliens, why are they doing the stuff that they're doing? Yeah. A lot of people will poo-poo that. There was a great way that they put it in this book was think about how ants next to an interstate perceive the interstate.
Oh yeah. it's unbelievably
Who's to
complicated.
think
You
that
can't even
we
think
can
about it.
even who's
Yeah.
to think that we can even comprehend what these things are thinking?
Yeah,
We like to think that we're like the big dogs in the universe
Sure.
and things like that. But what if this is a scary thought.
yeah,
What if we're like the cattle? You know,
Yeah.
what if we're the ants who can't comprehend?
yeah,
I guess Loki said that too, didn't he? Like
Yeah.
the ants can't comprehend a boot or
yeah.
something about to destroy them. But it's the same kind of thing. Like, and I don't necessarily think it's like truly malevolent or anything.
Mhm.
It doesn't seem like any. I mean, aside from those poor dogs and the cows,
Yes, of
that's
course.
the only thing. The dogs and the cows were horrifying. No people were ever like harmed.
No,
You know,
they were warned
just
though.
they were thoroughly freaked out.
Yeah,
though.
they were warned.
Got
I
those
just
giant
love
wolves, everything's like that. You know,
the way you tell
absolutely
this
insane.
stuff is very cinematic, and I think that's why I like it the most. You're very descriptive in
Oh,
your and like I genuinely love being able to see it here and hear you be a storyteller because you're good at
Well,
it.
thank
You know,
you.
and I know you
I-
wrote it. I know you spent some time researching it. It just these are always fun for me because this is more of a
Well,
sit and react kind of thing, which I love doing.
Yeah. I enjoy doing that too. And again, like I'm glad so many of you guys stuck with us for this because
Yeah.
these things are weird. It's weird. It's one of the it's a tradition. It's a Bombad tradition. I know it's
Yeah.
not our normal fare, but at the same time, it's a tradition for us.
As it should be.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun to put this. I like to put a narrative to these kind of things because I see
Of
these
course.
things as like again, Spielberg film.
Very
usually.
movie-esque. I agree.
Yeah. But
Thank you,
especially this
Jerry.
one of anything. Oh, no
I've
problem.
wanted
Yeah,
you to
it's
talk
great.
about this for years because I've known about it
Yeah,
since like 2019 or like 2018.
Yeah.
But now that I can sit here and just really digest everything, it's freaky. Not as freaky as I thought, but also I just love the idea of it not being just one thing. It's so much
Yeah.
more than just a UFO sighting. It's so much more than just a cryptid. It's like this really interesting area where multiple things are happening that maybe aren't I guess relatable on a very human level. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's one of those things there's just a lot to dive into. And if you
Yes.
want again, so Hunt for the Skinwalker is the book that I read for this. There's a lot more in it. There's a lot more in it. It's available as an audiobook. So y'all, if you want to go check it out, go check it out. I highly recommend it.
Mhm.
Colm Kelleher, PhD, and George Knapp are the authors of that. Then George Knapp worked with a guy named Jeremy Corbell to make a documentary in 2018.
Jeremy
also
Corbell
named Hunt
did
for the
the Bob
Skinwalker.
Lazar stuff too. The
Yeah.
Bob Lazar.
They're actually doing a podcast called Weaponized. It's a whole weird thing. It's
Yeah.
like basically it's all about UFO shit.
Yeah.
They're pretty good. They're kind of like on the forefront of a lot of things, reporting things, but they're also like just again, I just say take everything with a grain of salt. But Hunt for the Skinwalker, the book, and the documentary, both very good. The documentary, you get to see like it's George Knapp got to go to the ranch kind of during Nid's investigation towards the end in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And he's got his file footage. They went through his files and everything,
cool.
everything that he had on Skinwalker. So that's where you get the picture of that mutilated calf.
Yeah.
And everything like that. So
well, look, Jerry,
check it out, babies.
Thank you again for this. We're gonna wrap up right here.
Thank you. Thank you for having
that was
me.
so much fun. Thank you for having me. Thank you for bringing the research, man. I love when you do this kind of stuff. And it honestly, like I'm gonna take Obi out right now. I'm gonna be like, try not to look up. Like it's gonna be one of those things. Like I did.
Or maybe look up because it might be a good one. Sometimes there are good ones. Oh, I didn't say the most terrifying part about the big black thing.
Okay.
And we can end it with this if you want to. It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
Okay, then I'll play the clip and we'll roll and just give us a Stay Bombad after that.
Okay. So listen, guys, follow us at all our stuff. You remember the guy saw the thing that was he couldn't tell, it was so big he couldn't tell if it was in the trees or behind the trees, but it was blocking out the stars.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that towards the end of that, he also goes, "Oh my God, it's got me. It's got me. It's in my mind." And apparently he said it was saying over and over again, "We are watching you. We are watching you. We are watching you. We are watching you." Good night, everybody.
Did you say impossible?
Pasquale?
Only kidding, Jackie. I've changed my tune because I finally thought of a possible dream that we can all share.
What is it? Pasquale?
It's a dream about a world when nobody is poor or sick or hungry.
Oh, now that's a dream we can make come true.
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good, gonna make a difference, gonna make it right.
As I point up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind.
I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their need? A summer's disregard, a broken bottle top,
and a one-man soul. They follow each other on the wind, you know, 'cause they got nowhere to go. That's why I want you to know I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways, and no message could have been any clearer.
If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change.
I'm starting with the man in the mirror.
Oh yeah,
I'm asking him to change his ways.
come on, change. No message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. Oh yeah,
I'm asking him to change his ways.
no message could have been any clearer. If you wanna make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and then make a change.
Time for us to take a break, but we wouldn't dream of being gone for long.